You can lead the kind of life you want. But all this becomes possible if you awaken to the reality within you. Otherwise, it's very easy to develop compulsive habits. What's the meaning of compulsiveness? You are controlled by an external factor. You are compelled to do something. You are not doing it out of your will. You have so programmed yourself that you have to do it. This is compulsiveness. So we can make ourselves compulsive human beings or conscious human beings. The more you awaken self-knowledge within you, what happens is the mind becomes more conscious. Intensified awareness is generated in the mind. Using that as a light, you can do everything. You can manage your mind and of course the body-mind mechanism. But if this is not awakened, we can get into very compulsive habits, completely dedicated to something which is supposed to keep me happy, completely dependent on something to keep me engaged. So this situation can come if we have not awakened to this reality within and learned to use it in our everyday life. So essentially self-management is about this. I was going through certain self-management textbooks and this portion is lacking entirely. Although you have such a huge scriptural heritage behind you, we have sort of not been able to draw the essential aspect of self-management, which is ability to open to the reality of your being in order to handle your body-mind complex. So this we will be studying today as part of this session. First of all, let us come to the external aspect of your being, which is the body. Here I am going to give you certain ideas which you will not find in medical science. All the knowledge available to us which medical science gives us is already, you have access to it. It is on the net and you can also go into it deeply. But here I am going to give you certain thoughts which you will not find anywhere, which are characteristic of the Yoga Vedantic stand. Like for example, you know, in Ayurveda, in the science of health which was developed here, the indigenous science of keeping the body healthy, they characteristically distinguish two types of diseases. What is the meaning of disease? Dis-ease is disease. When you don't feel at ease, you feel no calmness, nothing keeps you happy. That is disease. It can be physical or mental. Now, diseases are of two types. One is called, according to Ayurveda, one is called Nija Roga, another is called Agantuk Roga. Nija Roga means disease caused by imbalance in the internal factors, which is self-created in a sense. And Agantuk Roga means an imbalance created by external factors. So what the science of Ayurveda, pranic healing, Reiki, all these alternative forms of medicine will tell you primarily is a lot of your disease is Nija Roga. It is due to imbalance created within your system, not due to external factors. Agantuk Rog can be created by external factors like say an infection due to viruses or bacteria, or due to an accident something can happen to the body. So this is all due to external factors. This is minimal in human life, they will tell you. But this Nija Roga, which means I create a certain amount of imbalance within myself through my wrong ways of thinking, through my wrong attitudes, through the abuse of the body-mind complex, and that creates a kind of dis-ease within myself, and I attribute it to all kinds of factors. So this is what is greatly happening today. Medical science has come to this understanding. You know, there is a term called psychosomatic disease. You must have heard of it. So many of the so-called diseases are psychosomatic in nature. Psych means mind. Soma means the cells of the body. They are connected. And many of our ailments are psychosomatic. Please try to understand this. Almost everything in the physical system, starting from your blood flow, hemoglobin level, heart rate, then the mechanism of the liver, the stomach, even the lining of the stomach, the flow of blood in the arteries, the lung mechanism, then the musculoskeletal system, the release of the endocrine system, release of hormones, enzymes, the functioning of all of this greatly depends upon the kind of thoughts you have. Today, if with chronic ailments, if a person goes to a doctor, one of the conditions the doctor will put is, please try to maintain a calm state of mind, a happy state of mind. Even the absorption of food, the function of the villi in the stomach and the endocrine system, a lot of it depends upon habitually what you are used to, what states of mind you are used to. Are you in habitually happy states of mind or in depressed states of mind? Does negativity, is it a huge part of your everyday mind, everyday thinking, or is it a rare thing with you? All this matters a lot. You know, there are ways of measuring happiness nowadays, happiness levels. There are different ways which we have covered, some of it has been covered in the first course which I took here. You can go through those videos. There you can see clearly that there is a way of finding out your negative, positive emotional level in a given time span. Say in the next 1 hour, how much of negativity do you suffer and how positive is your mind? Are you in a habitually cheerful state of mind, or at least a glad state of mind, or is it perpetually negative and you constantly need things to keep you busy, otherwise you will go into negativity? Is it this kind of a state? So if we are used to this kind of continuous negativity, which many youngsters, I am very sorry to see this, they are suffering from this. If this is your habitual state of mind, there will be problems in the body. So to overcome this, there are definite techniques. Even Ayurveda will point out to this. Today's medical science has come to this. Any number of experiments have been conducted on this, and they will tell you very plainly. Today, even if you go to a physiotherapist, you know, he will tell you perform these exercises, but keep a very calm state of mind, keep a happy state of mind. Why? It affects your body. So we will try to understand this a little deeper. How is it that it affects your body? You know, the nature of the body is it follows mind. The problem is we have learned to think mind is, because you can't see it, it is somewhere in the brain or somewhere. Mind is all over your system. Every cell has memory. That is why it follows a particular pattern. What you are calling heredity, it is nothing but, in a sense, memory. Because of this, what has happened is your mind, your body follows the nature of your mind. Which means if your mind is by nature positive, you have made it like that. Don't think mind got created itself. How we make it. I told you mind depends on two factors, whatever the content of your mind. One is what you take in through the senses, and your memories, what you have taken in the past. To a great extent, these decide the content of your mind. So your body has this tendency to follow the content of your mind. So if your mind is perpetually in a negative mode, the body will pick up all that. And if mind is fresh and positive, glad, cheerful, by nature bubbling with joy, if you can maintain the mind like that, it will show in the body. There is a famous incident of a doctor who led a wonderful life, a very beautiful life, in which he made a huge contribution to destitute children. He had a very good practice. He helped a whole lot of people during his about more than 50 years of practice, and after that he dedicated his time to lifting destitute children out of poverty. About 1,000 children he saved from rank poverty levels. And then when he grew old, he would always say, if anybody asked him, how are you keeping, doctor, he would say, I am very well, thank you. How are you? He was always very well. So even when he reached the age of 80, if anybody asked him, how are you, he would say, oh, I am excellent, I am doing very well, because really he had such a beautiful mind, he always stayed very happy. And after a few months, after he turned 80, he passed away. And when he passed on, everybody who knew him, they felt very sorry about this such a great life. And then when the post-mortem report came, they saw that, you know, not a single organ in his body was actually functioning to perfection, although he always felt very well. Because of the nature of his mind, which was always positive, always giving, always sharing. You know, the body never felt any pain. In fact, cancer had spread to some areas of his body, but he never knew it. The state of his mind, because of he had made it, you see, how do you change the state of your mind? If you develop right positive attitudes, isn't it? Caring, sharing, kindness. If this becomes part of your system, your mind will naturally remain happy. So that is picked up by the body. And if only thoughts of violence and anger and revenge, all this is taking place in the mind, jealousy, then this will affect even the body. So this is what is happening. It was found that his body was not in perfect order, but his mind never felt it. Because it was so habituated to cheer and goodwill and happiness, his body got along with his mind very well. So this is a possibility. The body will tend to follow the nature of the mind. And you know, when you are in a very depressed or sickly state of mind, you will always keep feeling pains and hurts and aches, even if they are not there. Have you seen people like this? Constantly worrying, constantly complaining, grumbling, blaming others. Because their mind is not in their hands at all. They will constantly be telling you something which hasn't worked with them. The whole point is you must learn to refresh the mind, renew the energies of the mind from time to time, and enforce positivity. Not enforce, what I mean to say is make it your default state. Naturally, always. You can do this easily through yoga. You can replace thoughts, you can replace your habits, you can replace the worries, anxiety modes of your mind. If you make these things your default state, you know, the mind radiates sort of a kind of happiness, a kind of joy, a kind of ease and well-being. So this makes you successful wherever you are. Not just health-wise, it will draw very good minds to you. You will enjoy your experience of life like anything. In fact, this should be the natural state for every young mind, isn't it? When all your energies are just now in your hands, this should be the natural perpetual state of mind. So now how do we manufacture this? First of all, correct your relationship with the body. This is very important. Please see this. This is an instrument given to you to function in this world. How will you treat an instrument? You will treat it with care. Your scriptures tell you this is the temple of God. If the Atman is of the very nature of consciousness, bliss, the supreme, usi ke ek amsh ho aap, then this is the external manifestation of that. This is the temple for the soul. How will you keep a temple? How do you maintain temples? You keep them clean and pure. So this is part and parcel of good living. Never think that, well, the body is just something. You are not contained within it. You are using it as an instrument. So it is something you must care for. It is something you must keep clean and fresh always. This should be the attitude towards the body. Your relationship with the body is going to affect how your mind is going to behave. You know, it is not just that the mind affects the body, even the body to a certain extent affects the mind. If you keep it clean and pure, you know, your mind will be functioning in a particular very positive way. So they influence each other. You will find this in a huge way in William James' psychological theory, that your postures, your attitudes, the way you handle your body, all this is going to create the moods of your mind. That is why in India, you know, art forms were always committed to the highest ideals. Have you seen this? Traditional art forms were always based on very high ideals, so that whatever you do by way of art, whether it is music, whether it is dance, everything is geared towards lifting your energies and emotions to a higher ideal. It is geared towards something which elevates human life. I can tell you a simple story here. This is also a real story. There was this American girl who, right from the age of 16, she developed very strong depression. And such a level of depression some people can suffer that they are on antidepressants every day. And nothing is making her coming out of that phase. So she finally left college and she was in high school at that time. Then she entered college, could not do it, so she left it. And then fortunately she had some friends who invited her to India, and she came to India, and here for the first time she saw this Bharatnatyam performance somewhere, and she liked it very much. And she came home and she told her friends that what kind of a dance form is this, I would like to learn it. And they introduced her to the teacher and all that, and she started taking lessons. Over a period of 3 months, she completely overcame her depression. She stopped taking antidepressants. She was seen to give more and more time in pursuits like this, listening to good music, dance, and in a cheerful state of mind all the time. Then she herself was very surprised, because for years she had been going through these phases of depression. So she went and asked her teacher, how come just learning Bharatnatyam has brought me out of this depression? And you know what the teacher said? She said, what are you doing in Bharatnatyam? You are depicting the moods of gods, the bhavas of Krishna or Shiva or Durga, the moods of gods. That has an impact on your mind. Whatever you depict, however you handle your body, that has an impact on your mind, because you are depicting such elevating emotions, elevating bhav. In our culture always it was refining the bhav, not polishing just the behavior. Andar ka bhav kaisa hai, that was paramount. So because you are working at that level, it is naturally your whole system is becoming very positive, and so you are getting out of depression.